All right, guys, so we're going to start today with dividing decimals by whole numbers. So it's going to get a little bit more complicated, but the method is still pretty much the same for this lesson. Next class is when it's going to get a little bit different. So today should be fairly easy. So we're dividing decimals by whole numbers. It's lesson 12. So I just kind of started you out to kind of show you the method on how to do it. And then we'll be taking actual notes. So for now, if you could just watch, that would be good. So we have 1.2 divided by 4. So 1.2 divided by 4, take note that 4 is that denominator. So 4 is on the outside of the house. And then we start our division. So what I automatically do when I see a decimal and it is inside of the house, as I've been calling it, I automatically move up the decimal, right? That's something that you need to get in the habit of doing. So when it's on the inside, it carries straight up, okay? So now 4 does not go into 1, right? It goes in, it's 0, right? So we have this 1 and then we bring down this 2. Well, 4 goes into 12 3 times. So take note that I did not do 4 into 1, I did 4 into 12, right? And your decimal just sits the way that you see it. So my answer would be 0.3, right? That would be my answer. I'll show you another one and I'll get more difficult as it goes. So 2 divided by 4. Remember that your bottom number's always on the outside of the house. I'm going to bring up my decimal that's already there. And then I'm going to just do normal division. So 4 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. And then I have 0, and then I bring down my 1. Well, 4 doesn't go into 1, so it goes 0 times, right? So 4 times 0 is 0, and then we subtract and we get 1 again. Now I'm going to bring down my 2. Well, 4 does go into 12. It goes 3 times. So 4 times 3 is 12, and your remainder is 0. So we keep going until we get a remainder of 0. So your answer for that one, sorry, I don't know why that keeps taking that away, but it would be 20.3. Okay. And then here's your last one. Again, you're just watching, just watch the process. Okay. So again, I said, bring up your decimal. You have 5 goes into 9 1 time. 5, you bring down your 4. 5 goes into 44 8 times. Sorry, that should be an 8. 8 times 5 is 40, and I get 4. I bring down my 5, right? 8 goes into 45 9 times. 5 times 9 is 45, and I get a 0. So your answer at that point would be 18.9. Okay, so now we're going to start in your book. So you're on page 79. So we're going to work out only 2 of them, and they're from your book. So number 3 on page 79, there's space for you to write down what I'm writing. So use long division to find this, and you could check your answer by multiplying, which I know most of you already know that. But we're going to more focus with the division here. Okay, so remember in the last video, I had told you guys I usually draw this little invisible dotted line. I made it purple today. And I'm going to bring my decimal straight up the same way I showed you in the beginning of this. So I'm just going to work out the math. So please copy down the problem. 4 divided by 53.8. So 4 goes into 5 once. That's 4. You subtract and you get 1. Bring down your 3. 4 goes into 13 3 times. And you get 12 when you multiply those. And you get 1. Okay, now I bring down my 8. Okay, so 4 goes into 18 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Notice how everything is lined up. 18 minus 16 is 2. Now I add a 0. Now take note. I do not add a decimal. because the decimal is already there. That is key to know. Okay, I do not add, like last video, we did a decimal plus a 0. You don't need to do that because I already have a decimal. I just do the math. So bring down your 0. 4 goes into 20. 5 times 20, and you get 0. So please make sure that you copied all this down. Okay, now you're on the same page, but I'm going to do number 4, 77.4 divided by 5. You're still on the same page, but I'm doing number 4. Now remember, your decimal sits there, bring it up. That's exactly where it's going to go in your answer. And then from there, you just do your math. So 5 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. Or I'm sorry, yes. And then you do 7 minus 5, and then you get a 2. Bring down your 7. Okay, so 5 goes into 27. How many times is that? 5 times, and you get 25. And you subtract, and you get 2. Bring down your 4. 5 goes into 24 4 times. 5 times 4 makes 20. 24 minus 20 is 4. Now I have to add a 0. Once again, I do not add a decimal because there's already a decimal in the problem. I only add a 0 for place value purposes. So I bring that down and I get 40. Well, you know that evenly goes in 8 times. I get 0. So your answer would be 15.48. So please write that down in your book. And now we're going to move to the next section. All right, so dividends and divisors, page 80. We're going to do number 1 and 2. So you're on page 80. Analyze the dividends, divisors, and quotients in the calculations and answers. So you have 3 into 72, 30 into 720, 300 into 7,200, 3,000 into 72,000, right? So you're noticing that they're adding a 0, right? There's a 2 zeros, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, right? It's going up every time. Okay, so we're going to complete each sentence. Each dividend it'll be 10, so please fill in the blank, times the dividend to the left of it. Each divisor is 10 times the divisor to the left of it. Each quotient it would be equal to the quotient to the left of it. So you're just filling in the blanks on page 80 for number 1. All right, and this is where we end. So page 80, number 2. Suppose we are writing a calculation to the right of 72,000 divided by 3,000. Which expression has the quotient of 24? Now you could work these out. What I do is I just kind of cancel out the zeros. Okay, so what it's going to lead me to is C. That's going to be your answer. And what happens is these zeros, so like this 0 cancels that 0. This 0 cancels that 0. This cancels this. And this cancels that. So that's the option where they will evenly cancel out to be 72 divided by 3, which makes 24. So you're going to turn in your notes and then you're going to join the class, okay?